And now we will come to my favorite tab, to the Kill DAX artifacts. You can see here all the measures and calculated columns or tables that are calculated by DAX and nobody uses. And we will kick them out now by clicking on the kill button. And you will see that now 48 artifacts are killed, which is pretty good, and that there is popping up a window that tells you that 9 new unused artifacts have been found after deleting the unused ones. So today I want to show you one of my favorite third-party tools when it comes to Power BI, which is Measure Killer. With Measure Killer, you can explore the metadata of your Power BI file. I think it is pretty awesome because you can immediately find out a lot of things about the shape of your DAX measures, of your Power BI report, how many data you imported and that you are not using, and so on and so forth. So let's jump into Power BI and I will show you how it works. So here we are in Power BI and you can see a Power BI report I made out of a challenge data set some time ago. And I know that I reused this report a lot for other tests. And so I know that there are still a lot of measures in that I do not use, that I imported tables that I'm no more using, and that this is not the cleanest report I have. So I decided we will take this report and I will show you what you can do with Measure Killer. In a real world scenario, you can imagine that as taking over a report from a colleague and being responsible for that report now. And you just want to find out what's going on in this report and if you can optimize some things. So if you have installed Measure Killer, you will find it under the external tools. If you didn't install it yet, you can go to the brunner.bi at Measure Killer homepage and you can download it here. Measure Killer has two versions, a free versions and a paid versions, and it was developed by the team around Gregor Brunner, and I really think it is the perfect tool to make your life with Power BI and messy reports so much easier. So after downloading it and installing it, you will find it under the external tools and then you can click on the icon and you will get this window. In this window, you can already see that there are two options. You can choose a single model and report, so I can check this single file, or a shared model on local machine. So this is what's available in the free version, but I think for just finding out how it works and doing tests for your own files, this is pretty enough. So we go to the single model and report, and then the tool is searching for an open Power BI file, which is the Measure Killer demo file this here. So this is perfect. So we click on next, and by clicking on next, you see that this window is open. So you see here the file we are checking, and then you can first click on run, and the software will do some checks on your Power BI file. And what you can see is the first thing here is now that you get here an execution summary, and in this summary you can see that there are 75% of the data used and 41% is unused. Then we have 1.7% unused by unused. So you can see that nearly half of the data I have in this model is not used anymore. And we can put that out like we can see later. Then you can see that I have 7 tables. I have 9 calculated tables. I have 1 field parameter in use. I am using 1 calculation group, and I have 47 unused measures out of 95 measures, which we will also put out then. Then I can see that I have 107 unused columns from 171. I have 1 unused calculated column. I have no many-to-many relationships, which is good on the first point. I have 3 many-to-one relationships. I have no one-to-one relationships, and my model best practices are Power BI criminal, which I expected because, as I said, the report is a mess and there are so many things in that I do not need, and the report best practices are okay. And what you can see here on the right side is a listing of all the items and all the artifacts that are in there. So you can see the name, the type, the table or the page. You can see the source. You can see the data type, you can see the size of this column, and you can see the status if it is used or unused, and you can see how often it is used. So you can filter here by name, by type, by table, or by page, and then you can search for something. And you can also put here filters like only the unused ones. Then you will see immediately what is not used. And here you can set your own filters, what you want to see. And here you can clean all your filters. Then you can go to the next tab, to the tables tab. Here you can see which tables are used or unused. And you can see that there is a table with native visuals that I do not use, and that there are 2 tables used by unused, so by this table, which are also yellow. Then you can see here a clean new model tab, but this can only be used with a license. You can see that in my report there are 3 hidden pages, and you also can see bookmarks. In this tab you can read out what relationships you are using, how the cardinality of them is, how they are cross-filtering, and if they're active or inactive. So you can see the from column and the to column. This is similar to the info view functions for the relationships, but you can see it here at one glance. Then you can go to the DEX expressions, where you have listed all your DEX expressions. If you expand them, you can see also the DEX, how it is written, and you can see also the table they are living in. In the plot results, you can get a visual overview about your data. So you can choose here unused versus used. And we should get a visual, yes, where you can see how many measures are unused, how many measures are used, and how many measures are used or unused. You can see the same for the columns and also here for the calculated columns. We do not have something which is over time at the moment. So we will click on this visual, and here you can see the uncompressed size, so the used size and the unused size, and used by unused again for the whole data model. Then you can go here to the artifacts, and you can hide them if you want. So you can also choose here and search here for something like, let's say, the city. Then you will see this is filtered down to the city, and you can hide it if you want. And now we will come to my favorite tab, to the kill DAX artifacts. This is the first thing I always run when I get a new report. And I know that there are so many measures and nobody needs, because you can see here all the measures and calculated columns or tables that are calculated by DAX and nobody uses. And we will kick them out now by clicking on the kill button, and you will see that now 48 artifacts are killed, which is pretty good, and that there is popping up a window that tells you that 9 new unused artifacts have been found after deleting the unused ones. These were the used by unused ones, and then you can click OK again, and we can kill also these 9. So 8 are killed, and you can do that as long as unused DAX artifacts are detected. And now you can see that we have deleted all the DAX artifacts in the report that are not used. And then you can move on to the kill columns. The kill column shows you more or less the tables you have in and the M code in Power Query, and then you can extend this M code to delete the columns that are not in use. You can choose between 2 options. You can choose remove columns. By remove columns, you can see that there are specific columns removed, or you can click on remove other columns, and then you can use table select columns. I prefer the table select columns because if I have more columns later or due to any changes in the databases, the remove columns will only remove these columns, but not the additional ones I got. You can copy that out and put that in your Power Query. So for the e-commerce table, you can see that 3.4 megabyte are unused. You can go to Power BI we can go to transform data. Then we go to the e-commerce table, click on the advanced editor, and replace this query with the code we've copied now. You can click on done, and instead of having all these columns, we only have 6 columns left now. Then you can click on close and apply, and your query will be updated. So if we go back to the results, you can see this was what we got on the first run. So we can run this again now because we have deleted a lot and we have also killed the columns. And if we run it again now, you can see that 65% of the data is used now and 34% is still not used. And we do still have tables we are not using. So we will get rid of these tables now. So this is 1 times the native visuals. So we go back to the report, go to this table and say delete from model because we do not need it. And the other one was the customer selection. So we do the same here, clicking the 3 dots and delete from model. And we will also delete the KPI chooser, delete from model. And then we will run again. So you can see now that there are still 34% of the data not used, so 16.6 megabyte. And we can see here that the unused data is mostly in the underlying columns, table, and the lineage tag, the DEX measures. These are the info view functions tables that I put in here, these ones. And they have a lot of columns I did not use because if we click into the table, we can see that only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns are in use and all the other ones are not. So we will go to table page. So if you filter the unused, you will see that these are mainly these columns. But the interesting thing I see here now, usually you can remove these columns, but for the info view functions, this is not working. So if you're using info view functions and you have still a lot of unused data, this is the reason. And what you can see also here now is we have 7 tables and we have 3 many-to-one relationships, which is really less. So you can see here also that there are some disconnected tables in the model, which we can also see in the data model, because here we have a max date and a minimum date. And we also have here some tables I created for some measures and some other things. So we can see at the moment that the report best practices are okay. So we are violating some things, but the model best practices are still awful. So we will have a look what's going on here. If you click on the model best practices, you can see that there are different categories where we are violating some things. You can click on the info button and you will get some information about the violation score, how it is calculated, which categories you have. You have performance, you have text expressions, you have maintenance, and you have formatting. And you can also see what is not included. And then you can find out here what you have to do that your model quality is getting better. So one common thing I always see is that hide foreign keys, that foreign keys are not hidden in tables. And this is not that good because people tend to filter by foreign keys down. And it's very easy to do that. So if we go to these 2 tables, to the calendar and the e-commerce, the foreign key is the order date. You can click on the order date and just hide it. And then we should get 1 less if we run it again. Yes, so now we only have 2 instead of the 3 we had before. Then the next thing is mark the primary keys, because it would be good for each table to know what is the primary key. You can do that here by going back, for example, to the calendar table. Then you can see here the name, the description, and you can see the key column here, and the key column is the date. So you have selected the key if we go back to Measure Killer and rerun the model, click on Model Best Practices, you'll see here now that there is also one table gone. Then in the performance, you can see that the model should have a date table. This refers that your calendar or my calendar is not marked as a date table. You can change that by going back to the calendar, clicking on the 3 dots and mark as date table. You have to enable that, and then you choose a date column, the dates, and then you click on save. If we go back here now and run it again, you can see that it is gone now. The next thing we can see here is, yes, do not use floating point data types. This should be avoided because you need a lot of storage for them. And this refers to the profit, for example, in the e-commerce profit. So we have a look at that. In the e-commerce table, the profit, you can see it is a decimal number. And the best practice here is to put it on a fixed decimal number. For a fixed decimal number, you will stay with 4 digits after the decimal point, which is in most cases pretty much enough. And this also reduces the cardinality of this column because you do not have so many different profits, because maybe they are similar to the 4 digits after the decimal, because maybe there are more similar ones to the, if you choose the 4 digits after the decimal. So this was this point. What do we also have? We have here some red ones. The first one is saying provide a format string for measures. So let's say we have the selected order, and then we can go here to the measures, to the selected order, and you can see that there is no formatting provided. And the selected order is a text as far as I can see. So you can change here the format to text, and then this should be gone, because usually you should give your measures format. This was here, and you can see here now that the order is gone, and you can repeat this now for all the other measures or calculated columns where you should have a format. Then you have here a formatting, do not summarize numeric columns. This is something you can fight about, because I also do not change that, because I leave the summarization on. What does this mean? This means the point that if you click on profit, you can see here that there is under advanced, you can choose if it is summarized by some, or you can say none. And this is what is meant with it. But I would leave it also to some, because if I drag the profit into a visual, then I get it summarized. So here we have the reduce of calculated tables, the DEX measures, the columns. But these are tables I created on purpose because I wanted to have some info view functions. As I do not need them in the model, I could also delete them. So what do we have here also? Yes, there is some maintenance things, and two tables have relationships. So there are tables detected with no relationships. And this is just a hint that you could check if you do need these tables, if they have no relationships. And here are some formatting rules that could be helpful. So this is how you can go through these violations. So my model best practice is still awful, as you can see, because I'm violating 12 of 47 rules. But you have to work through that list to make this better if you want. So I hope I could show you what you can do with Measure Killer and what's the benefit of using it. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and I hope to see you on my channel soon. So wish you a great day now. Bye bye.